Hey, hi all. Welcome back to BRL Knowledge Center. In this session, we'll talk about a class and the constructors and the concept called inheritance as part of OOPS, right? And types of inheritances, right? And calling of a parent reference through a child class and calling a child reference via parent object, etc. So coming to the class, before if you wanted to get in all those areas, if you want to get into these all concepts, we must understand first of all what is a class here. Class is nothing but a data structure, right? It contains combination of variables or attributes and functions, and then it wrapped into a single object, right? So once it is wrapped into a single object, it is very easy for developer to pass that entire class into a single object, and that single object can be processed or carried over different methods in different libraries, and then they use it instead of methods and attributes, right? So when it comes to the abbreviation of class, right, a class is a data structure, right, in C sharp that contains or combines data variables and functions into a single unit. In another way, a class is a container which contains collection of attributes and methods wrapped into a single object. Got it. So the declaration of or declaration or creation of class is going to start with class keyword. Get it? So when we talk about class, right, this is something called student, and here I'm going to right define my class. Fine. As part of class we are discussing, we should also need to discuss a constructor. So what is a constructor, right? And how it is using in class. A constructor is a special method of a class which gets automatically invoked whenever an instance of the class is created. So, like methods, a constructor also contains the collection of instructions that are executed at the time of object creation. Basically, we use this constructor to initialize initial values to the data members of the same class. Okay, so a constructor is a method, right, of the class which gets automatically invoked whenever an instance is created, right? So a constructor also contains collection of instructions, right, that are executed at the time of object creation. So generally, right? So generally, right, we use this constructor to initialize or assign, right, initial values to the data members of the same class. Okay, and coming to here, if you want to create a constructor, right, constructor always, right, creates with same class name. Example, public student. This is my a constructor which gets created inside of my class student. always should have a same name so that it will get automatically invoked by object creation process, and then it will execute the instructions which you are going to mention inside of your constructors, right? This is the default constructor of any class. Got it? So now coming to our actual topic called inheritance, right? Inheritance, this is what actual our topic in today's session. So inheritance is a concept called relationship between two classes. In object-oriented programming, inheritance is another type of relationship between multiple classes. Inheritance is a mechanism of reusing the functionalities of one class into another related class. So in inheritance, right, looking at the real-time example, if you want to explain it, right, we can say that a person is having different attributes, right? And that attributes are same for customer, employee, student, right? So if you want to define same attributes, I'll define it in the person class, and I'll just import or inherit the person class into other classes called student, employee, this thing. Okay, let me share the code. Okay, so when it comes to here in the inheritance, right? We're going to use a little called colon, right? Which gets derive the parent class into derived class, right? So in OOPS concept, right? Inheritance is another type of, right, relationship between classes. Inheritance is a mechanism, right, of reusing the functionalities, right, of one class into another class. Got it? So, as I said, an example, right? So I have a class called person who's basically having some attributes, right? String, right? str, first name, string, str, last name, string, str, middle name. These three attributes are common for any employee, right? Or any student, right? Or any customer, etc. So instead of defining these three attributes for every class, I'm going to just inherit this using colon, emp colon person, emp colon student colon person, this way. And then it is going to automatically pull into this derived class. This is a base class or parent class, and this is derived class, right? So in C sharp, right, we use the colon symbol to inherit a class from another class. Okay. So in C sharp, right, we have so many inheritances, right? So there are like, C sharp having, right, 5 types of inheritances. They are, right, single inheritance, right? This is multi-level inheritance, right? This is hierarchical inheritance. This is multiple inheritance, right? This is hybrid inheritance. These are the inheritance we have in, right, C sharp. Got it. So when you look at the inheritance, if I wanted to show you to diagrammatically, it is more understanding. If you look at here, this is my person class I created, and this is another entity's employee, student, customer. I'm just inheriting this person entity into these three classes so that this base class features will automatically comes under derived class. Okay, this way we are going to reuse this particular attributes in person class into these different classes by just inheriting. Got it? Yeah. So now going back to our running notes here. So single inheritance, if you look at here, it is straightforward, just inheriting one class into another class. Got it? So if you want to demonstrate on this single inheritance, right? I'm going to create a class called a parent. Let me go back to my demonstration, right? And see that how it is going to work. So let me close this. What is happening? So I'm having a class instead of this. Let me remove this all stuff. That I don't want all this information, right? So I'm removing this stuff. Got it. And then I'm removing this method as well, right? I'm having, right, a class called parent. And that I'm having child class instead of it. And after that, I definitely need another class or a static void method to get started execution process. And so, defining another class, that's fine. This is what my structure is, right? So instead of my parent class, right, I'll be having, right, a parent constructor, right? Instead of this, I'm just saying console.writeLine parent constructor call, right? Again, instead of this, console.writeLine of, right, child constructor call. It should not close here. What's happened? System console write line. What's happening? This is parent. Oh, right, this is parent, right? It's closing here. This is child, it is closing. For this, I'm going to declare, create, right? Constructor with the same name. And this is what my constructor, you can see. I'll make a break here. My child is having a constructor, and this is my program main method. Now, what I'm doing is I'm going to create, you know, uh, public programs. I'm going to create for the parent obj1 equal to, right, new parent, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm just creating the instance for this, right? And also I'll read one more method along with constructor, right? Uh, right, this thing like, public void test method, right? One. So inside this method, I'll again have some statement, right? Parent test method is called. Parent test method is invoked. Right. So I'll have a similar method here in child also. This is going to invoke child test method is invoked. When I create a parent instance, when I say obj1 dot test method, right? When I say console dot read line, right? First it will create a object and then it is going to invoke this first constructor and then it is going to invoke this one. That's fine. The single inheritance is nothing but inheriting parent into child, right? Got it. So I'll change this method. Okay. Now here I'll run and see what is happening for the first cut, right? Looking at here, okay, it's an extra word. Parent constructor called because I created an instance for parent and then parent test method is invoked. That means every time when you create instance, parent constructor is going to invoke and then method is called. Now I'm going to create child obj2, right, equal to new child. That means I'm trying to create instance for child 2. Now I'm going to call my child method, right? That means when I run this, and you'll see parent constructor called, parent test method is invoked. Sorry, I should go this and after that. Looking at here, you have a 5 entries. Parent constructor called, parent test method is called, this is fine. Now I'm creating a child instance. Even though I'm creating child instance, the parent is already pulled into child. The first parent instance is calling, parent constructor is calling, and then child constructor is calling, and then child test method is calling. That's how it is happening or executing the program, right? So I have a class parent, I just inherit into child class. This inheritance concept will automatically invoke these things into this child class. When I create a child class instance, first parent constructor is going to invoke, and then child constructor is going to invoke, and then the relevant methods are going to invoke. Even using this child object, right? You can invoke parent class test method, that is test method 1, because you already imported into right child class. So this is all about single inheritance and the way of creating an object and the way of the concept is invoking. Got it? So let us see the other concepts like multi-level inheritance in the next session, right? And just practice on the single inheritance with different examples and see like how it is executing. Thanks for listening to this video and please subscribe this channel for more videos. Thank you.